sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakun here. 'Tis the season. Instead of cramming into the family car to hunt for holiday lights, let Minneapolis Trolley Tours do the driving. Join us for the enchanting Merry and Bright Christmas Light Tour, where we glide through a winter wonderland filled with twinkling lights, festive decor, and plenty of holiday cheer. This uplifting experience wraps you into the holiday magic from the comfort of a cozy, festively decorated, climate-controlled trolley. You'll enjoy dazzling light displays, scenic routes only our trolleys can access, and live narration, never pre-recorded, that brings the sights to life. There are multiple photo stops perfect for holiday cards and memory making with family and friends. Before or after the tour, browse the holiday market inside the historic Pillsbury Club, featuring handcrafted gifts, artisan goods, and locally made treasures. The perfect place to find something special for everyone on your list. Tours depart from the Pillsbury Club. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 11, then Tuesday, partly sunny with a high of 24. The best roast beef sandwiches in the Twin Cities can be found at Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville. Maverick's is located 1 mile south of Highway 36 on Lexington Avenue near the corner with Larpenteur. Check them out at mavericksbeef.com. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us, share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm so excited. I can't remember how to say words because, first of all, just got through Thanksgiving, which was pretty epic as far as food-wise. I mean, that's kind of what it's all about for me. For those of you who do not celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you still had a great weekend. For those of you who do, I'd love to know, what did you have? I did not go the traditional route. I love turkey, except for some reason the last weekend of November. I really don't like it, and I'm not kidding. I want nothing to do with it. So I don't know why that is. I don't know what that's about, but hey, I've just learned to live with it. And so basically I spent the weekend just kind of like grazing in my own house, and that's just not pleasant, is it? But now we're on the next phase of our eating journey as we are heading towards Christmas. We are heading towards New Year's, and so that anyone who's thinking about trying to stay fit, trying to be on a diet, anything like that, you're not going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm not here to be negative, but I just know how it goes. The good news is I don't work for a big corporation or advertising agency anymore, where this is a time of year where you would be inundated with either being sent to you or people putting it on the tables, all of this amazing food from vendors, gifts, stuff like that. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I swear, I don't know how much I gained during that period of time, but it wasn't pleasant. So that's the good news. And I already have a plan set in place in January to start taking off some weight and stuff. I will be sharing that with you in January. You don't need to hear about it now. We don't need to hear about diets right now. We just need to hear about, food, but also, what you need to hear about? You need to know about how popes have died, okay? This is what you really need to know. And I'm very excited. You all know that I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school. Even down to the last conclave, I always had an interest in the mysterious side of Catholicism. I know that there are other religions out there, and I do not really talk enough about them. And I fully admit to that. And I hope someday I can rectify that. But when you get topics like this, you just cannot turn them down. And so tonight, I'm going to be talking with author Wendy J. Reardon. We're talking about her book, The Deaths of the Popes, comprehensive accounts including funerals, burial places, and epitaphs. Folks, this is the type of book that was meant for me. This is the type of book that I think you might find quite interesting as well. Wendy, welcome to GhostBox Radio. Very nice to have you with us tonight.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be on.
Well,
and I'm so excited to talk about dead popes because I don't get to talk about them so much anymore.
What? Why? Because they're all living, and you have a new one that's probably going to last for at least 10 years. I mean, is that?
Yeah, that too. That's primarily the reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it's out of season, isn't it? So
yeah.
to speak. So the first thing that I find actually really adorable, quite frankly, but so it's like when I say this, I don't actually. It might sound like I'm kind of kidding you a little bit. Actually, I'm not. There's people I talk to who write amazing books, and it was assignment that was given to them, and they write it. Mm-hmm. And I have to admit, I just thought maybe that's what this book is about the popes, is that there is just something that you're interested in. You wrote about it. You're not just interested in it, is it? I mean, it goes far, far beyond just being interested in the topic.
It does. I mean, I grew up Catholic, and I've always been fascinated with death things ever since I was little. And I got my master's in medieval history, and for my my thesis, that I wanted to do the history of the evolution of the papal tomb, but they wouldn't let me, so I had to do something else. And for some reason, after I graduated, got my master's, I had to keep going. Something made me write this book because there is no other book about just how they died. There's a really obscure book by Renzo Montini from 1958, but it's all in Italian. But mine has how they died, when they died, where they died, all the epitaphs translated from Latin to the English, pictures of tombs before they were destroyed and they were building in St. Peter's, a quick death chart in the back. It's got everything that I could fit into it about how they died, just their deaths, not their lives. And it's absolutely fascinating. You can't make this stuff up.
And that's just it. I mean, there might be some folks out there like, why would I be interested in this? But that's the whole point about what you're getting at, is that there is first of all, there's the breadth of history that we're talking. What, about 1,000 years, 1,500 years,
2,000 years.
Is it 2,000 years of papacy? And
papacy, yep, 2,000 years from St. Peter to John Paul I was my book covers, because they came out in 2004.
St. Peter, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I mean, technically they called Linus after him the second pope, the first pope, but because Peter was not technically a pope, but that's, technically.
Did you say Linus?
Yes, Linus was. Oh, there's a kitty.
That's
Peter
Linus.
Peter, Linus, Cletus, Clement of Austria, Sixtus. That's the first line of popes, because I'm that much of a nerd. But yeah, it was Linus.
Wow. So, okay. So, I mean, and so things during that period of time, things might go awry once in a while.
Yeah, because Christianity was banned in Rome. So the first bunch of early martyred popes, they were all martyred, raked over hot coals, drowned, harsh prison, beheaded, beaten, like literally tons of them. Just the first bunch, and something gets really nasty too.
So, okay, so Christianity was banned in Rome.
Yes.
Where did the Catholics, like, where did they have their headquarters is such a stupid word, but because there wasn't a Vatican.
Yeah. They went underground. A lot of them they would have masses in the underground catacombs, the cemetery of Callistus, cemetery of Priscilla, all the catacombs under Rome. So they would meet secretly under there, or meet at people's houses, anything that was secret that they couldn't tell. And they would use the symbols of the fish, the P symbol, the Greek, to say that's where they're going to be. And it wasn't until I think it was 313 when Constantine made Christianity legal completely, because there were all kinds of persecutions, and it was pretty crazy at the beginning. And
Constantine had the vision, right?
Yes.
For the attack.
Yeah. And then his mother Helena actually brought back a piece of the true cross, and was instrumental in building Constantine's tomb, which ended up being Castle San Angelo.
That's another topic that I find so fascinating, and I don't know, I haven't really found a lot of people who could speak eloquently to it. Is the religious relics, such as the real cross.
Love relics.
Yeah,
It's a show for another time, but I love relics.
it's so. I mean, it's so amazing. Maybe we'll get to that at some other point, because it's something that obviously with the popes and stuff, and you get to the Vatican. Do we know how much? And I know we're kind of veering a little bit. So, but do you know how much is at the Vatican that they consider to be true relics?
Well, they're all over Rome. There's Santa Croce in Jerusalem. There's has a piece of the thorn of the crown. Every Catholic church is supposed to have a relic, but in Rome they've got a lot. So I'm not exactly sure how many and exactly what. I mean, there's bunches of them in the Vatican too, but there are a lot of them are spread around Rome. And
when you say Vatican II, we're not mistaking with Vatican II, the actual.
Oh yeah, no, not the 1960s Vatican II.
Yeah. How did you? How did like at what age was it that you're just like, I'm in on this whole Pope thing?
Oddly enough, when I was in 10th grade, we were studying history, and I just loved the whole monks popes thing. Didn't know why. And then when I was working out at Warner Brothers Animation, I actually read Will Durant's The Age of Faith. Went out and got it and read it. And again, the Pope monk, early Middle Ages. I don't know why, I just called to do it. And then I went to Hanna-Barbera, got laid off Hanna-Barbera, and spent a lot of time at Barnes and Noble and reading about just popes, the history of them. I read about Cesare Borgia. Of course, as you know, his father was Alexander VI. Funny guy, hilarious. And I have a really good memory, and it just started from there. Just my love of death rituals and stuff and popes, and just somehow combined. Because I'm not some great scholar, not some great religious person, but something made me write this book.
But yet at the same time, no one else has written a book like this.
Not in modern times, no. So I don't know, but it chose me. Got a sense of humor.
What is about like the death ritual in general? Is there any? I mean, can you pinpoint what it is that you're just like, this is what really interests me?
Just fascinating. From the tapping of the hammer on the forehead, saying the Christian name 3 times to see if they've passed, to the the cloth over their head, the 3 coffins. It's just so I love, for some reason, I think it's like a past life thing. I love ritual, love the Catholic ritual, and it's unfortunate that after Vatican II, a lot of the ritual has disappeared. Like they used to have 24 candles on by the catafalque, and it was this big, huge thing. And now there's like 1 candle, and I understand it goes back to the simplicity of Jesus, but the pageantry makes it so much greater. Like the royalty, when Queen Elizabeth died, it was so pageantry and loyal. Nobody complained about that. But if the Pope dies and there's something like, gold things everywhere there, oh God, it's material. And it's still the giving to the glory of the Creator, which is why they have the gold and all that stuff. But I really wish I was around when they had the big catafalques and the fanons, the white feathers, and the sedes decoria where they carry them around. So it could be a lot more visual, and maybe someday it will be again.
Well, isn't Vatican II nothing more than basically a PR stunt to try to keep people in the church as well as bring in new people, because for so long.
To simplify it, I mean, I understand that because before Vatican II, the masses were said in Latin and the priest was facing away from the congregation. So I understand after Vatican II, they had the language in the vernacular so the common people could understand it. And that makes sense. And I just, for the first time, happened to go to Latin Mass, which is a church right down the street here in Alabama. And it is unbelievable. It's so solemn and quiet, but it's beautiful. So it's definitely different than the masses we brought up with. But it's a difference. It's a difference. It's a lot simpler. And people want to go, because back in the day, they were more material. They had to go conquer lands for, the papal states. And now it's so simple. It's completely, almost entirely spiritual. So of course it would make sense that it's simpler. Not as much fun, but simpler.
No, that makes sense. Now, when in the Vatican itself, after St. Peter's was built, how far back do popes go that are actually buried in, at the Vatican? Because since there wasn't always a Vatican, but I know that St. Peter's was built pretty much over the burial of St. Peter.
St. Peter. And most of them, a lot of them, they were buried around him. The popes would be buried around him after that. Then the seat of Catholicism went to St. John Lateran, a little bit down the road there. But from, I'd say it's weird because the first bunch are actually buried in the catacombs, and then some around St. Peter. So they're kind of sprinkled around a little bit. But it pretty much goes line of succession from, I think from St. John Lateran. Then there's a couple other churches around Rome that they would go to, but maybe the late 1700s, I think, is when they really started just St. Peter's, doing St. Peter's.
Interesting. Very, very. I mean, it's such a, and that's the thing. And I think that's what always had made me so interested in all of this, is that just like with you and like you, I mean, I long after Vatican II. So, I mean, I have, I would hear my parents talk about what it was like beforehand, and they were very happy for Vatican II.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that part.
But I was also an altar boy, so you got to take part in some of those things as well, where you're just you just kind of see sort of behind the scenes of just like at a mass or something, and that's what drew me into that also at the time. And we were talking prior to the show, and just kind of, I think probably me not so much as far as you, but I certainly kept my eye on it and really was watching the coverage. Is when a pope dies and what happens with the conclave then.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating to me.
It's fascinating. And that procedure has, changed over the years. But what's interesting is that there were several popes that actually were elected because they weren't going to live long. So the cardinals had more time to pick somebody they wanted. Like, for example, Pius III, he was, Alexander VI, Borgia Pope, died 1503. They elected Pius III because he was like 96 years old or something, and they knew he was going to die soon. But that gave them enough time to go and vote in Giuliano della Rovere became Giulio II. So it is very political, but they knew what they were doing. There's a couple of popes. There was one, I believe it was Honorius II, who, it's like a weekend at Bernie's. He was dying, and they were trying to elect a new pope. And the Roman mob, love the Roman mob, they said, show us the Pope, make sure he's still alive, show us the Pope. So they literally brought him out onto the balcony, and like somebody like waving his hand like this, because he was like comatose, practically dead, and so he finally died. But then you cannot make some of this stuff up.
That's amazing. And the fact that they throw in the 96-year-old, they throw in a ringer, like, he'll do until we can really.
Yeah, that's exactly what. And they weren't kidding around. They knew. I was going to tell you. Shoot, I just forgot. It has it in my head. About popes that are like. First of all, have you ever heard of the Cadaver Synod?
I've heard of it. Absolutely. But I wanted to talk about that tonight.
Okay. But it's one of those that was during the Roman Pontificate where no one knew who was going where, going what, as far as elections. The people were Marozia Theophylact ruled Rome, and she put popes in, took popes out. So it's been pretty crazy over the years. It's not been like solemn like it is now. And
that's Pope Stephen VI, right?
Stephen VI, yes. And Formosus II was the one that they exhumed. So what they did for everyone is Stephen VI became pope. Stephen VI. Formosus II was pope, and Stephen VI hated him. So Formosus died, and Stephen VI came after him, and he exhumed his body because he said he had 2 bishoprics, when of course everybody knows that canon law says you can only have 1 bishopric when you're Pope of Rome. So he exhumed the body, put him on trial in the Lateran Palace, the corpse had its own defense team, and found it guilty of having 2 bishoprics, then cut off the 3 fingers of the benediction, tossed the naked, rotting corpse in the Tiber River, where a fisherman came along and fished it out. But right when the trial ended, a huge earthquake struck Rome. So the Roman mob, again, love of the Roman mob, took that as a sign from God. They took Stephen VI, threw him in prison in Castle San Angelo, where he was later strangled. And his epitaph actually says that he was strangled in prison. And again, you cannot make this stuff up. It's crazy.
And I want to take a break here in a second, but that's another thing that I think it's worthy to talk about here, is that you have made sure that all the epitaphs that you can get is, I don't know how far that goes, that you've actually translated into English as well.
Yes, I'm not that cool, but I had people translate for me the epitaphs from Latin to the English. Some of them are so dramatic. Say, beat your breast in the agony of the death of this pope. And it's funny because they go from like little, just the name, and then grow up to these huge epitaphs, long things, and then back down to being simple, modern age.
Was those epitaphs, were they written by the popes or like prior to them? Like, sometimes like if you're putting a will together, some of them were, because they all plan their own tombs basically.
So some of them were pretty much, and it's just they're pretty funny. Some of the epitaphs because they're so dramatic. He lives among the stars, and it's beautiful. It's interesting.
What a time capsule, huh?
Oh, it really is. It really is.
Why don't we go ahead and do this? I want to go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, there's one that I really want to talk about. I've let you know already, Wendy. I'm not going to, take you off guard here, but I want to talk about Pope John Paul I. That's always interested me. Folks, this is fantastic. Stick around. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. 'Tis the season. Instead of cramming into the family car to hunt for holiday lights, let Minneapolis Trolley Tours do the driving. Join us for the enchanting Merry and Bright Christmas Light Tour, where we glide through a winter wonderland filled with twinkling lights, festive decor, and plenty of holiday cheer. This uplifting experience wraps you into the holiday magic from the comfort of a cozy, festively decorated, climate-controlled trolley. You'll enjoy dazzling light displays, scenic routes only our trolleys can access, and live narration, never pre-recorded, that brings the sights to life. There are multiple photo stops perfect for holiday cards and memory making with the family and friends. Before or after the tour, browse the holiday market inside the historic Pillsbury Club, featuring handcrafted gifts, artisan goods, and locally made treasures. The perfect place to find something special for everyone on your list. Tours depart from the Pillsbury Club. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursion to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. And, I've been saying this last week, and I'm going to say this again, as we talk about the holiday ride over, the Holiday Lights ride over at the Minneapolis Trolley Tours, I do want to point out that it's a great opportunity for you and your kids and your family to do this wonderful holiday light trolley ride. That's called the Nice Ride. And I'm serious. It says go to MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com and you're going to see it. It's called the Nice Ride. Now, right below it, you're going to see something called the Naughty BYOB Holiday Light Trolley Ride. And that is where it's adults only, 21 plus. And what you can do is you can get on and have a little bit more, fun, maybe a beverage or two, and to really have a fun night going and enjoying this wonderful ride with adults and a little bit more amped up. No kiddos, no carol singing families, no matching pajama photo ops. It's just you and your crew and a room full of grown adults who are ready to be merry in all the right/wrong ways. Just know it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping to get to one of these. I'm not going to lie. It sounds like a lot of fun, but we'll see. But you can get to it. Go to MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com, and don't forget they offer a lot of other trolley rides there as well. The one that we always talk about is the Candlelight Ghost Tour. There's a ton there. Check it out, and hopefully we can get something going on our end as well. And as always, please make sure that you let people know that you when you go to the Minneapolis trolley tours that you heard about it through our show, as we want to make sure that they know that we are great supporters of the Minneapolis trolley tours. Our guest tonight is author Wendy J. Reardon. We're talking about the deaths of the popes, a comprehensive account including funerals, burial places, and epitaphs. And there's been a couple popes, so that we're not going to get through everything tonight. That's why you got to go get the book. And as always, please consider going over to my website and go over to GhostBox Radio, GhostBox Book Club, where you can go get the book. And please use the Amazon affiliated link to get it. If there's other places you want to get it, see if you can order it through a local bookseller or however else. Please do. These are great books. And, I personally love books with historic significance to it. So, Wendy, thank you for writing this book. This is sort of thing right up my alley. I love it.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you love it.
How many popes have there been?
I have 265 now and 39 anti-popes.
What's an anti-pope?
Oh, they're fun. Anti-popes are when they had more than one pope elected at the same time. There were quite a few of them at the beginning, when the religion was getting organized. And the last one was, I believe, in the 15th century at some point. And the first few were murdered very nastily. But they have lasting legacies. One of them, there was 3 popes at one time: Martin V, who was Eugene IV, and John the 23rd. And that was in the early 15th century. And ended up being Martin V won, so he ended up being the Pope. But John the 23rd, whose name was Baldassare Costia, he started out his career as a pirate, and he ended up putting on his 3-tier tomb in the Florence Baptistry. Well, the reason he got to the Florence Baptistry is because he had the finger of John the Baptist, which he donated to the city of Florence. Lucky for him. And so there's a 3-tier tomb there, and it says Papa. It says Pope John the 23rd. So he pretty much gave the eternal finger to Martin V, who's buried down at St. John Lateran in Rome, because it says Papa, and he can't do a thing about it.
Wow.
They're so much fun. They really are. I can tell you stories.
Well, and I suppose there would have been, I never really thought about it, popes and stuff where, because there was disarray. And
oh yeah. There one particularly in the 10th century, one faction, one of this pope, other faction, one of this pope. And then, the one time there was 3 popes, and it was egos. It was human male egos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
well, that's the thing that I think people forget about it. I think even today is that these are human beings, and they have drives. And you said it yourself in the last segment. It's it can be very political, even when it's refined and that we have order, so to speak. Now, one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about, and I've always found this fascinating. As a kid, we were talking. I think I was 4 years old or so when Pope John Paul II came to be as Pope, and that before that was Pope John Paul I, who was only Pope for 33 days.
33 days, yeah. Albano Luciani. He was 33 days. And there's a lot of funky stuff with that, because what the Vatican put out was that he was found by his male secretary, John McGee, when actually it was Sister Vincenza bringing him his morning coffee that found him. Now, what had happened was the night before, he had tea with Cardinal Cody of Chicago, and he told the cardinal that he was going to expose him with the whole Vatican bank scandal.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not going to happen. So the next morning, since Sister Vincenza finds him dead, she said that she found him covered in vomit. His slippers were gone, his glasses were gone, and his low blood pressure medication was gone. And that the official story was that he was found sitting up in bed reading The Imitation of Christ, which he didn't even own a copy of. So the slippers, the glasses, and the medication were never found. And the embalmers were called, or the mortuary people were called right away, which normally they're not, but they were called right away. And there were no organs taken out, and because they do that when they embalm them, no embalming. And he was buried like real fast. And they said by 4 o'clock the next morning, palace apartments scrub clean. So there was a lot of funky stuff with that.
And I don't know anything about anything, but it seems to me like vomit all over yourself is an indicator of possibly poison, right?
Oh yeah. And it's just so strange in this day and age that something like that would happen. But it's still just like, what is it? The Godfather 3, you can't expose that stuff to them. And so I think that there was some foul play there. There's another Pope, Pius XII. You know what Pius XII? He was the Pope during Eugenio Pacelli, Pope during World War II. And what happened at his funeral?
What happened?
Well, a lot of scandal there. He died. One of the reasons he died was he had hiccups that ruptured his stomach lining. So he had these constant hiccups. So he passed. And before he passed, his doctor, who was Galileo Zolisi, who was actually an optometrist, injected him with the adrenal glands of monkeys to try to save him. Didn't work, obviously. Passes away. And again, Lisi, instead of doing an embalming, made a spray-on embalming. So at the first funeral mass at St. John Lateran, during a quiet part of the mass, the coffin cracked because the gases were escaping, a big loud noise. And then when they had the part at St. Peter's, they had him on the cataflact, and they had to build an extra high one because the smell was so bad. And he had a big nose. It was all black and turned off. And you're not supposed to take pictures of a pope in their deathbed. But of course, Lisi did. So I've got that in the book too. And the papal guards were fainting that were by his side and had tears running down their eyes. And people were told that they were crying, but that was because the smell was so bad. And that's in 1958, I think he died. It's incredible that even to this day, there's still such big snags.
That's incredible. And
it is.
I just the whole thing too, with like going back to Pope John Paul the First, you're right. There's that stuff I didn't know. I mean, I've followed from a certain degree, but even like a lot of the documentaries talk about how he's found sitting up in bed, like reading, just kind of a rewriting of history to kind of keep people from asking too many questions. It seems.
Well, they packed Sister Vincenda, who always brought him his coffee in the morning at 5 a.m. They packed her away off to a convent in Ireland.
Get her out of there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if they could keep her that quiet today with all the social media and stuff, but it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Well, you got to wonder what kind of stuff is going on in the Vatican that we just don't know about. I did read when I say read, I listened to the book on tape about a journalist who covered the Vatican for a great number of years during Pope Francis. Really during his time. And it actually is interesting because it sounds, even as beautiful and robust the Vatican is, it sounds rather poorly organized on certain levels, but extremely organized on other levels.
Yeah. It's committees. Apparently there's like just so much red tape with everything. And it really is who you know more than you would think, but it's who you know and getting stuff done. And if some cardinal doesn't want something done, it's not going to get done. But it's a big who you know kind of place.
I feel like we need to have like a, some sort of like big like next one that passes, like some big like thing where a casket explodes or something. They seem very normal lately. They've all seemed very normal.
Yeah. I mean, when Italy became a country in 1878, united, it kind of lost all of its spunk. Like the Roman mob wasn't there to try to throw the Pope in the Tiber River. There was no, typical.
No corpse were on trial. We need corpse on trial.
Exactly. They didn't wait. They didn't elect a really old Pope to get elected. So they get time to elect a new one. It's all the fun's kind of gone now, but it's more spiritual.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I mean, and I suppose it was this way with the last Pope, but I mean, I really think about, Pope John Paul, in my mind, it was really such a trailblazer for the church and stuff. And I remember that, we had watched him die for about nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
To be honest. It was really tough to watch him.
It was.
But towards the end, and especially in March of 2005, it just like it literally was a Pope watch, to see what was going, what's happening with him.
Yeah, they turned the light out in his bedroom, and what I liked, everybody clapped. It's like good job, you're done, good job. I love that Europeans will clap at a funeral like that.
Absolutely, actually, I agree 100% because it's a celebration.
Oh yeah,
and I find it also interesting. I never thought I would experience something like this in my lifetime, and I think it's probably far more common than I think. But the canonization of John Paul II as a saint.
Yes.
That just to me is like, it's like, I think it's fitting, first of all, but the fact that's a thing that happened.
Yeah, he was fast tracked on that because they were yelling Santo, Santo, Santo when he died. Saint, Saint, Saint. They wanted him as a saint. Saint John Paul II the Great, and he's the Great. He's only one of Leo the Great, Pope Leo the Great, and Gregory the Great. Only a couple of them that have the Great after their names.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because the Pope just prior to the one we have now, and I hate to say it, I've really lost count of the names and whatnot, so I apologize for forgetting, but no, the one between Ratzinger and the current one,
Francis the first,
and the fact that it's kind of over. I think it's over because he was also maybe not on the level of Pope John Paul II, but he was a trailblazer of his own. He was really, and I think the current one from Chicago here, I think that that's another. I mean, I think that they've had some really good candidates. I couldn't
believe they elected an American, because usually they come from third world countries to prove that they care about the poor people too. So that was surprising to every Pope watcher that it was an American.
Yeah, no, it was really incredible. And something else I never really thought about until you brought it up with the Pope that passed in 58, that there isn't any photos generally of a deathbed photo of a Pope.
No, they were forbidden to do that, but Galileo Lisi rules didn't apply to him apparently. And it was here. If you can see that.
I'm gonna for those watching, I'm gonna make this bigger so we can all see.
That's Pius.
Oh,
and that's one of the, and you can see it's kind of turning green right there.
Oh
my
gosh.
The catafalque.
Right, and then when they die, you said that they obviously knock the 3 times on the head, but they also take the gold ring and they destroy it.
They destroy the fisherman's ring. They steal the papal apartments. There's a little illustration of the hammer ritual.
Let me
and they call it their Christian name 3 times, and boom, 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 and then they'll do the cloth over the face 3 times, and then if they don't answer, that's when they declare them officially dead.
Wow.
I'm going to show you the simplicity. Hold on a second. But they can. Hold on. I'm trying to find this picture of the difference. Where is it? That's the one I wanted. I can't find it. But they're the tombs are so simple now compared to the Middle Ages. They're super big, and one little candle. When there used to be 24 of them, it used to be quite a spectacle.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. What was one of the things when you wrote the book, when you did the research? What was something that just kind of, because there had been a bunch of stuff that just stood out to you, wow, and I don't know what that wow necessarily means to you, but what was something in that book that when you're researching, you're just gosh,
the entire 10th century. That was the Roman pornocracy, where this woman put popes in, took popes out, the cadaver synod, and I think a lot of it that stood out too was the maneuvering, right, and the different the separate organ burials in the Church of St. Vincenzo and Anastasio. It's just it's funny. I hate to say that, but a lot of it is really funny, what they would do to get themselves elected. And what happened with Pope Alexander VI, the Borgia Pope, died in 1492. Died in 1503. Nobody knows whether he died from malaria or poison, but he had gone to a garden party at Cardinal Cornaro's house at the back of the Vatican, and he ate sweetmeats or wine, and it was in August, so he got really, really sick, and people said there were apes. They saw apes jumping out of his room when he died, and his body got so big, black, and bloated because he died on August 3rd that they had to roll his body up in a carpet and pummel it into the coffin with their fist. And one of the rituals they used to do is when a pope died, the Roman mob and the people that worked for them would go and just vandalize everything, ransack everything to take what they wanted. Nowadays, to continue that, they don't ransack, but they're given a year's salary on the Pope's death. But the fact that they did this with Alexander VI, that Pius II in not 1464, 14 something like that, he through a crusade, nobody showed up, so he died of a broken heart in Ancona, and his heart is enshrined there. And the separate organ burials from Sixtus V to Leo XIII, from it was 1605 to 1903, the the viscera and the hearts are buried in the Church of San Vincenzo and Anastasio in Rome. And my pet rats, when they died, I kept them. My vet took their hearts out. So when I went to Rome, I went to the church and there was a big confessional and there was like that much room. And so I had a little box and said, Memento Mori, baby and boo rat, and I tossed it behind there. So the hearts of my rats, rest of the popes for all eternity. But anyway.
So you opened up the bodies of your rats and took out the...
My vet did. My vet, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like,
I didn't do it. No. No, my vet did that. My vet, because they meant the world to me. And so I just sort of tossed it behind the confessional. So the hearts of my beloved babies rest with those of the popes.
That's sweet. Why don't we go ahead and do this? I want to go ahead and get our last break in so that we can continue talking about all things. If anyone has any questions, go ahead, put them in the comments. Otherwise, we're going to keep talking about the death of popes and other odd things that go along with that as well. My guest tonight is Wendy Reardon. We're talking about the death of the popes. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. 'Tis the season. Instead of cramming into the family car to hunt for holiday lights, let Minneapolis Trolley Tours do the driving. Join us for the enchanting, merry and bright Christmas light tour, where we glide through a winter wonderland filled with twinkling lights, festive decor, and plenty of holiday cheer. This uplifting experience wraps you into the holiday magic from the comfort of a cozy, festively decorated, climate-controlled trolley. You'll enjoy dazzling light displays, scenic routes only our trolleys can access, and live narration, never pre-recorded, that brings the sights to life. There are multiple photo stops perfect for holiday cards and memory making with the family and friends. Before or after the tour, browse the holiday market inside the historic Pillsbury Club, featuring handcrafted gifts, artisan goods, and locally made treasures. The perfect place to find something special for everyone on your list. Tours depart from the Pillsbury Club. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey, bacon, avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursions to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. And join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. We will have on Char Savoy, which you may remember from such other radio programs, well, as this one. And we're going to be talking about the Divine Lights paranormal investigation that we did a couple weeks back. But once again, Divine Lights is in Anoka, Minnesota. And every month we do an investigation of the basement. This last one was really pretty cool. We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about Ghost Stories and Beyond. It's going to be happening this Wednesday at Billy's Bar and Grill in Anoka. Come on out. This month I will be playing a bunch of Spirit Box recordings that I have recorded over the years, which I think are pretty cool. We'll talk about what we call ITC communication, intertransmental communication, and all sorts of things. That's this Wednesday at Billy's in Anoka. $10 to get in. It does not cover food, but burgers are half price, and it's going to be a lot of fun. When we did it back in November for the Grant House, what we call the 18 minutes, the place was packed. So would love to see you out there. It was a lot of fun. Our guest tonight is author Wendy J. Reardon. We are talking about her book, The Deaths of Popes, Comprehensive Accounts, including funerals, burial places, and epitaphs. This is a really good book. It's well worth for all the history nuts out there to check this out. It's unique history. If you want to pick this up, please consider going to a local bookseller, see if they can get it for you. Try to keep those folks in business. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to go over to ghostboxradio.com, Ghostbox Book Club, where you can use the Amazon affiliated link. That also helps me directly. So whatever works, just please check out this book. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And as we left our conversation, I was happy to hear that you are not tearing apart your animals to take organs and, hide in them where the popes are and stuff like that. I was happy to hear that. Now, here's the question, though. So, and I'm talking the popes now again. Burying the organs in different places. Were they afraid that the Pope is going to reassemble like Voltron or something? I mean, why did they do this?
Because those were the vital organs, and the vital organs were ecclesiastically special. Plus, a lot of churches will get Pope's hearts, and with the relic thing, that drives people to go to the church, and thusly more money in the church's pocket there. But it was the vital, and then it stopped with Leo XIII in 1903. But you had asked me earlier about why I was so fascinated in these fascinating stories.
Yeah.
Do you know about Celestine V and Boniface VIII?
I do not.
Unbelievable. So in it was 1294. The Pope died. Celestine V, or before, he was Peter Morone, who was this hermit, lived in a mountain, and nobody knew who to elect for Pope. So as a joke, Benedict Gaetani, who was a cardinal, suggested, how about Peter Morone? So I said, Peter Morone, he's going to be the Pope. So Philip IV of France and then Boniface or Benedict were like, wait a minute, he doesn't know what he's doing. So they were racing up the mountain to get to him, brought him back. He was like really old, didn't want to be Pope, but he just kept giving favors away, didn't know what he was doing. And Benedict kept going in his room at night and saying, Celestine, this is the voice of God. Abdicate, abdicate. He really did this. So finally, Celestine is like, okay, I abdicate. I'm out. So Boniface put Benedict put Celestine in prison for his own protection. And Benedict was elected Boniface VIII. So Celestine is like 95 years old. He escapes over the mountain, again, gets caught, brought back. And the people, the Roman mob, were all aggravated because they knew Boniface was a little sketchy. But to make everyone think that he wasn't sketchy, I love these guys. Boniface took the arm bone of Saint Boniface IV out of his casket there and put it in his tomb chapel to legitimize himself. So I have the arm of a saint, so therefore I am legitimate. And he had this 3 big one, and then it was destroyed during rebuilding. So that's all that's left of him in the that was his original tomb, the big one, and then that's all we get left down in the grottos of St. Peter's. But the fact that he had the guts to do this, the poor little Celestine, and Celestine was sainted, but he was not sainted as Celestine because that would make him a martyr, and that Boniface had killed him. So he's actually sainted as a confessor. So he's Saint Peter Morone, not Saint Celestine V. And his body is actually on display in Santa Maria di Collegio in Rome, or in Italy. So it's pretty cool. See, stories like that, you can't make it up.
You can't. And I have to make a correction because I couldn't remember Ratzinger's Pope name until you just said it now. Pope Benedict
XVI.
The 16th. Yeah. Why do they change their names?
Well, it started in, I believe it was the 500s with Mercurius, and that was a pagan name. He was elected Pope. And so because he had a pagan name, he changed it to, I think it was John II, what he changed it to. So it was just a tradition since then. And it's also because it's symbolic that the man, he's no longer the man. He is now a Pope. So he's giving up his what he was to become this new Pope, this person.
Very symbolic.
Very, very symbolic.
Okay. Well, I mean, it'd be a lot easier for me to remember Ratzinger, by Ratzinger, not Benedict XVI, but
it's so cool, the names.
It's, and there's when you're picking a name, I suppose there is like there is so much behind it. You're picking a
Well,
name because of what's also come before, right?
something like that. Formosus of the Cadaver Synod fame, who was exhumed, Formosus means beautiful. He picked his own name as beautiful. So, there you go.
You have beautiful, you have innocent, right?
Innocent, yep, lots. Like my Innocent the Third action figure, because why wouldn't you have an Innocent the Third action figure, right?
Who makes this stuff?
I got it at Newberry Comics back in Boston. I don't know who makes it, but somebody really cool makes it.
Have they made like 200 and whatever number of books, or just like the
no, I don't know why Innocent. But speaking of him, when he died in 1216 of illness, and they have a ritual of abandonment at the funeral, so everybody leaves the church at night. And wouldn't you know, some hooligans got in and left him in Latin fere nudum. So they don't know if that meant they left him in just the white Catholics or actually like in the nude. There are other popes that were during the ritual of abandonment. The candles fell over, burnt their corpses. There's just so much stuff that you cannot believe it all, but it's real.
It's amazing where that started from and where we are now. Where it's first of all, the fact it still exists. The papacy still exists, and it's gotten to the point, at least what we can see is like cordial and humane. And
I mean, that's one thing that I tell people when I tell them I'm interested in the history of the popes, and people say, oh, well, the Catholic Church, right? They got all these riches. But I mean, I don't think Jesus had St. Peter's in mind when he rode into Jerusalem on the donkey, but the core religion of Jesus' teachings has made it through 2,000 years of questionable popes, so that they don't teach us that in CCD, but that's a real good thing that I think would boost your faith in the Catholic Church. What was I going to say? Shoot, I forgot. But it's gone 2,000 years, from questionable men. And actually every pope in my studies, every pope except for John the 12th has done something good for the church. No matter how many wives or kids they had in the Renaissance, John the 12th was appointed by, I believe it was Otto the Third around the 10th century. And he was 18 and he was in bed with this woman, Stephanata. Her husband came home. The husband strangled him, tossed him out the window. So again, that's John the 12th, but he's the only one that really didn't do anything, try to advance the church. The rest of them actually really did.
Now we have about 4 minutes left here, and there's just a couple that I had looked up that I found very interesting, just kind of weird. Like, for example, Pope Adrian the Fourth died after choking on a fly.
Yeah. And Martin the Fourth died from choking on too many pickled eels he was eating. Eels of Vernaccia wine. And I have the recipe in the book.
Oh yeah,
because why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Pope Clement, he was tied to an anchor and thrown into the sea.
One of the first, I believe it's Clement the First. Yeah, one of them, who was it? I can't think of off the top of my head. I used to know. Actually died from a botched operation to remove his chronic hemorrhoids. Who's the Innocent the Eighth of Malus Maleficarum fame. In 1492, died from, he had got a blood infusion from 5 different boys, and that failed. Then he ate roasted emeralds, so that cut him out right there. There are just so many. Many fun stories.
Once again, the book is called The Death of Popes, Comprehensive Accounts, including funerals, burial places, and epitaphs. As we're wrapping up here, we have about 2.5 left here. That, for some of the stuff that the popes did, which was very questionable, very like women and that sort of thing, is often was done in full sight, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Alexander VI, Julius II, from like the Renaissance age, they did, but no one cared. It was no big deal. The popes had their little mistresses. Alexander VI had Julia Farnese, whose brother ended up being the petticoat cardinal, then later on Paul III, who, of course, as you know, reconvened the Council of Trent. But I digress. It was no big deal. Like, everyone knew he had Lucretia and Joffrey and all them, Alexander VI, but it was no big deal back then. Like, we can't look at what they did through our lenses, and that's part of the Reformation, is that they said, well, Pope Leo X said in 1513, God gave us the papacy, let us enjoy it, which of course was kind of like the start of which I don't blame him for being a Reformation, because that was a little much. He had a pet elephant too. But then Adrian VI, that came after him, he said he tried to cut everything and cut all the partying, and the Roman wine paid him so much that when he died, they sent his doctor flowers because he couldn't save him. He loved the Roman mob.
Where is the point that where it becomes the modern version of the Vatican, so to speak, where that stuff isn't going to fly today? That stuff they look at this stuff much more seriously than they did back in the day.
Around 1878, when Italy became a country, unified as a country, and then the Papal States, it took over the Papal States. So it made the Vatican City, that's its own little thing. So when it took away the lands, that's when it became where the Vatican could focus on just spiritual stuff and not the temporal, which they had done before, because they were literally rulers of the world, and anyone who's a ruler of the world is going to be corrupt. Yeah. But again, the fact that the religion itself has gone through all these popes says a lot about it.
Well, now they're a country upon themselves, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So,
their own sovereign state.
It's just not only, but it's also the smallest country on earth as well. Just absolutely incredible. I just, I love it. I love this stuff. I find it very interesting. I really hope that some folks pick up the book, because I think you don't have to be Catholic to enjoy this.
It's a great bathroom book. You just pick it up and like, oh my God, can't believe it.
I can't believe it. Yeah, no, it really is. And then there's so much more to it. And I'd love to continue this conversation at some point as well. I think
we've barely scratched the surface as Pope Joan and all kinds.
I was going to ask about Pope Joan. Yeah, no, we won't be able to get to Pope Joan tonight, but my gosh, there is a lot to talk about. Folks, once again, go ahead and get the book. You can go get it at Amazon. You can get it at your local bookseller. Go ahead and use the Amazon affiliated link on GhostBox Radio, GhostBox Book Club. Well, it was a lot of fun, Wendy. I had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you for
Thank you. Me too. I really did too.
Let's get you back on here, talk more about popes and whatever else. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow with Char Savoy talking about our paranormal investigation of Divine Lights. Everyone, have a great night.